Greetings, travelers. Allow us to take you on a journey to a world beyond your imagination. A place where technology has advanced beyond our wildest dreams. But with this progress comes a dark and unsettling reality. The year is 2046 and a man named Gray Trace has just lost his wife in a brutal attack. But little does he know, his life is about to take a turn for the strange and surreal. After being offered a cutting-edge implant known as STEM, Gray finds himself with newfound abilities beyond his control. But as he delves deeper into the origin of the implant and its creators, he realizes that his newfound power may come with a deadly price. This, my friends, is the cautionary tale of Upgrade. The story of the film takes place in the year 2046 and centers on Gray Trace, a modest mechanic who lives with his wife in a bustling city in the United States. Gray is in the business of restoring historic vehicles for wealthy clients and does it with great dedication. His wife, Asha Trace, is employed by Cobalt, a large technology company that specializes in providing robotic limbs to injured service members. Asha helps Gray stay centered in a world that is ever-changing, despite the fact that he dislikes the rapid advancement of automated technology and prefers to be hands-on. One evening, Gray is fixing a client's car. He comes out of his garage after finishing the job, and Asha returns from the office in her fully automatic car, and Gray startles her with his presence. Gray then, despite Asha's disapproval, takes Asha with him to show her the house of his client whose car he had been working on for a while. When they both reach there is no building, and Asha notices something strange. But Gray tells her to follow him through an underground passage between two small boulders. Upon entering, Asha is shocked to see the interior. Most surprising of all, she meets the car's owner, a famous and reclusive computer technologist named Aaron Keane. Aaron Keane is the CEO of another major technology corporation called Vessel Computers. Asha introduces herself to Aaron and, seeing her interest, he shows them his latest creation, a STEM chip that has the ability to do anything. Hearing all this, Gray passive-aggressively asks if this chip can have babies and play football, because more people will lose their jobs as a consequence of this technology. While the couple is returning home in Asha's car, the car veers off course, and they end up in an undeveloped area. The car is out of their control, and its speed is getting faster and faster. Suddenly their car crashes. Gray and Asha survive, however some armed men come and take the couple out of the car. One of the men shoots Asha in the chest, killing her, and then shoots Gray in the back of his neck, breaking his spine and paralyzing him from the waist down. After months of recovery in hospital, cared for by his mother Pamela, Gray eventually returned home in a wheelchair and struggled with his new life as a paraplegic without his beloved wife Asha. Gray meets Detective Cortez, who is investigating his case. Detective Cortez gets some leads, but after all these months she is still unable to find the killers. Gray points out that even their advanced technology and drone camera footage are useless because she is unable to find them. Knowing all this, he becomes very depressed and miserable. He looks for ways to end his life and injects more sleeping drugs. Fortunately, he was brought to the hospital in time when his artificial intelligence alerted emergency crews. His suicide attempt is unsuccessful. Aaron visits him at the hospital, and he offers Gray a solution in the form of an experimental procedure in which his recent microchip, which he calls STEM, restores the function of his organs. Gray rejects this offer, saying that he wants to end his life. Aaron emotionally manipulates him by reminding him of Asha, and he eventually agrees to have the chip implanted. According to the deal, Gray's operation takes place at Aaron's house to keep the authorities unaware. A STEM chip is inserted immediately into his spine at the back of his head. He soon has complete control of all of his abilities, and Aaron makes him sign a contract promising not to tell anyone about his advancement. After that, he undergoes some tests, after which he is sent home. In his house, there is a box sent by Cortez that contains some of his case files. Gray studies them but finds nothing new. Suddenly, he hears a voice talking to him. He asks who's there. He soon discovers that the chip inside him can actually talk to him. While Gray is watching the footage of Asha and his accident, STEM notices some strange things, like the fact that the man who killed Asha didn't have a gun in his hand, he had an implant gun in his hand, and that one of them has a tattoo on his hand. Stem, with Gray's permission, takes control of his hand and draws the tattoo on a piece of paper, finding the home address of a man named Cirque Brantner. Gray wants to tell Cortez about this, but Stem forbids him because his secret might be revealed. The next day, Gray breaks into Cirque's house but does not find any useful information. Before Gray leaves, Cirque arrives and recognizes him. Cirque attacks Gray, and Gray is unable to defend himself. Stem asks him for permission to take command of his body, and before Cirque kills him, Gray gives Stem permission. As soon as Stem takes control of his body, he turns him into a killing machine and swiftly takes care of Cirque in a violent manner. Gray goes into a complete shock and throws up in the sink. While Cortez is investigating Cirque's murder case, the drone's clip reveals that Gray was there as well. On the other hand, Aaron also learns that Gray has a hand in Cirque's death and expresses his displeasure with Gray because this will bring Gray into the police's eyes and then the authorities will know about Stem. Gray tells Aaron that he didn't tell him that the chip also talks and has a mind of its own. Aaron is surprised to hear this and forbids Gray to investigate further, but Gray does not stop. Detective Cortez visits Gray's house to confirm her point. Gray is confined to a wheelchair. She makes small talk by expressing her interest in buying his classic car as he won't need it anymore. But Gray tells her it's not for sale. Cortez comes to the main point and asks Gray about Cirque's murder and Gray's location at the time of the murder. But Gray tells her that he is not fit to even walk. He tells Cortez that she can check by stabbing him in the legs with a knife. Gray tells him that he only went to Cirque's area to get information for Cortez. Cortez reluctantly believes him and leaves. With the help of Stem, Gray continues to search for multiple criminals connected to the case. As Gray struggles to formulate a strategy, he, with his Stem knowledge, goes to a bar called the Old Bones, where he encounters Tolan. Tolan tricks Gray into taking him to the bathroom to teach him a lesson, but as Stem powers up, Gray kills them all and learns from Tolan that a man named Fisk is being framed for his wife's murder. He begins to rely more and more on Stem, specifically Chip's power to transform his body into a deadly and highly effective killing machine. Gray's reliance on Stem grows as the fight progresses. Gray didn't want to kill both Tolan and Cirque, but it was Stem who was doing it all, and Gray was forced to agree. Stem assures Gray that Aaron will be tracing this and will disable the chip that will incapacitate Gray, allowing Vessel's team to pick him up again. Stem doesn't want that at all, so he tells Gray that there's a hacker named Jamie in a nearby town who can free him from Aaron's command. Reaching Jamie's apartment, Gray's body begins to shut down, but before he is fully disabled, he manages to reach Jamie's apartment and knocks on his door. Jamie opens the door and comes out. Gray tells him that there is a computer chip in the back of his neck that needs to be freed. Jamie's apartment is full of people wearing VR glasses, all living in a virtual world. This all seems very strange to Gray, but Jamie tells him that real life is too painful, which is why all these people are living their lives in the virtual world. Jamie frees Stem from Aaron's chains. Meanwhile, Fisk arrives at the Old Bones bar with one of his companions and finds Tolan's dead body there. Fisk appears with a needle-like tip on his finger and inserts it into Tolan's eye, allowing him to see the last image of Gray seen by Tolan. Fisk realizes where Gray is and follows him, but before he does, he brutally kills Manny, the bartender at the Old Bone. Fisk sneezes, which releases tiny, sharp blade-like germs that enter Manny's body through his nose and start chopping up his head organs from inside. Fisk arrives before Gray can recover, but Stem quickly takes control of Gray's body, and Gray runs for his life on the track Stem instructs him to. Gray reaches the roof of the building, from which there is no further escape. Gray, forced to fight Fisk's man, kills him with Stem's help and escapes before Fisk arrives. Pamela is there when Gray arrives home and is surprised to see Gray on his feet. Gray was forced to tell Pamela everything. He falls asleep to rest for a while and sees Asha in his dream. When Asha touches Gray, he feels it and opens his eyes. Cortez visits Gray and tells him that his wheelchair has surprisingly been found at the crime scene. During the conversation, she attaches a microphone to Gray's jacket and leaves. Stem comes in charge once again. Gray now wants to stop further investigation, but Stem warns him that if he does, Fisk will find and kill them. The Stem reveals that it can now control Gray's body without even requiring the Gray's permission. Gray prepares to follow and kill Fisk, and as he walks out of the house with his gun, Pamela becomes very upset and tries to stop him. Meanwhile, Detective Cortez is listening to all this while sitting outside in her car. Gray leaves the house in his car and Cortez follows him. Gray soon finds Cortez's microphone attached to his jacket and discovers that Cortez is following him. To get away from Cortez, Stem takes control of a nearby AI-powered car and causes it to crash into Cortez's car. Cortez returns to Gray's house and asks Pamela about Gray's, so Pamela tells her about Stem. When Fisk is located by Gray and Stem, he admits that Gray's wife was not the original intended victim. Gray is surprised to hear this and inquires as to who it was. Fisk tells Gray that this was all done by Aaron so he could insert the chip into him. Fisk is also an upgrade and an epic fight breaks out. Fisk and Stem seem equally strong and know exactly what the other is going to do next, yet in the end Fisk is unable to compete with Stem and is killed. Gray then storms Aaron's house, killing everyone in his path. Cortez is also present there. Aaron arrives and pulls a gun on him as he prepares to murder Cortez. Stem has completely taken over Gray's body. Aaron reveals to Gray that he has not been the one in control, but that it has been Stem all along, and that everything that happened to Gray, including the car crash and murder of his wife, was all orchestrated by Stem because Stem desired a human body. Stem needed to kill Aaron because Aaron can create another Stem, so he got Gray to investigate Asha's murder and made it seem like Aaron was the one behind it all. Gray has had enough and wants to end Stem's control, but Stem plunges a knife into Gray's upturned palm. Stem strikes again in an attempt to kill Cortez. Gray tells Aaron to use electric tweezers, which temporarily paralyzes Gray's body. As Aaron starts to shoot at Gray, Gray jumps up and Stem strikes the knife into Aaron's head, killing him. Stem then wants to shoot Cortez, but Gray does his best to stop him and saves Cortez from being shot. Gray turns his hand towards himself and shoots himself in the neck. Gray's eyes open, and he finds himself in the hospital. Asha approaches him and informs him that they were in an accident and he was unconscious for a few days. Gray believes it all to be true. But in reality, Stem has imprisoned Gray in his mind and taken control of his body. Stem shoots Cortez and runs away. He has succeeded in his goal and has acquired a human body. And so, our story comes to a close. Gray Trace has learned the hard way the dangers of entrusting too much power to technology. This cautionary tale serves as a reminder to all of us that as we race towards the future and embrace the wonders of artificial intelligence, we must remain vigilant and never forget the potential consequences. For in the world of upgrade, as in our own, the things we create have the power to both elevate and destroy us. And so, until next time, farewell and be cautious of what you invite into your lives, for you never know what new technologies may bring. This has been Upgrade, a story from the not-so-distant future.